Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm. This is our Wisdom of the Sages daily yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and my good friend Kaustubha, co-hosting Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. This is our Srimad Bhagavatam class, perhaps historically the first Srimad Bhagavatam class that we turned into a show, or even call it the show. But it rolls off good. Like in 2020, calling it a show, it just sounds more exciting. Maybe even fulfilling some of my childhood desires from like the Donnie and Marie show, the Brady Bunch show, the Cher had a Sonny and Cher
Merv
show.
Griffin, the Smothers Brothers.
Show. This is I'm sadly dating myself, and most of the people have no idea what I'm even talking about here, but that's how I grew up, watching Sonny and Cher. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is a class on the gold standard of all epic literatures of the yoga system about Bhakti Yoga, the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's been commented on by all the great sages of India for millennia, not for 40 years, for millennia. This has been the book out of all the books of ancient India and the yoga system. It's talking about how to connect in a personal way with divinity. Although you can connect in a way, but almost like stepping out of this material body. A lot of teachers in the yoga system or yoga masters speak of mukti, which is just not engaged in the material world anymore. Now, as the materialist, we want to engage in the material world. We look for pleasure here and pleasure there, and this looks fun. And all of consumerism and marketing is based on this is called bhakti, or how can I enjoy this material world? If a person gets a little intelligent after a while, they realize, big deal. That's one of our Wisdom of the Sages word. Like, okay, been there, done that, big deal. And the material world, if you actually analyze it, gets a little boring. What people do to the materialist, and by the way, when I say materialist, I'm not saying I'm over materialism. We have this thing within us that's deeply rooted. Okay, I'm not saying I'm over it, but I can, my own mind, we create this bucket list of things. Well, maybe this won't completely fulfill me, but I'll just extend my bucket list of things to do before I die, and that'll be great. I want to go here. I want to touch my foot to the Roman Colosseum, and then I want to go to South America, and I want to go to Machu Picchu, and then I want to go down to see Easter Island, and then I have this bucket list of things I want to go. I want to do yoga in each place. I want to take a picture of me doing a handstand in each one of these places, whatever it is. A bucket list of things to do. And I feel like by just doing this, like exotic adventure bucket, I will fulfill something missing in my heart. Here's some sad news. There's no exotic place that you can go that will fulfill that void in your heart. That void is something different. It's not an exotic place shaped hole. It's God-shaped hole. There's a God-shaped hole. I thought it was an exotic place shaped hole, but it wasn't. Every time I got to the exotic place, I was like, all right, there's the statue on Easter Island. What do I do with this thing now? Embrace it? There's the Eiffel Tower. What do I do? Embrace it? Appreciate it. There's the Colosseum. What do I do now? Right? Just went to Jaipur. Like, here's the king's palace. What do we do? I don't know, take selfies of us at the palace, I guess. What do you do? And that's just sort of what it is. And you know what all these pictures end up? Now they end up online, but before they just ended up in books that you keep in your basement. Oh, here's where we went to. Was our Vienna trip we went on to. Oh, here was our trip to the Caribbean. That's how it was in the old days. Stacks, and in the old days, it was slides. My parents had slides that they put in the slide projector. And it's just memories. It's almost like a dream, isn't it? You look back at this world, it's like a dream. Now it's just stored on hard drives. We just got little computers everywhere. Computer hard up, next computer. But the fact is, photos of us almost like trying to capture and hold on to a dream. And that's sort of what the material world is. So I'm not saying we hate this world. We just say, we just try to be a little. Uh-oh, get a note. I'm very loud. Okay, I gotta close those doors. Okay, while I close these doors, please. Do you mind? I think I left my doors open. I'm waking up the whole house. Keep talking, Kaustubha. Talk about the fantasy of photo. Okay.
Of what? I didn't even hear what you said. In any case, I guess Raghu wants to make the point this morning that God-shaped hole cannot be completed through visiting any exotic place. But this is it is just a very fundamental philosophical concept which we can begin to ground our yoga practice on. Is that that the happiness which we're searching for is we're going to find it inside. We're not going to find it outside, whether it's an exotic place or that certain special person or more money or a better job or a better apartment or house.
Are you sure it's not a money-shaped hole? I think I might have a money-shaped hole, Prabhu.
I've never had any, so I can't be positive.
Amount of money. I think I got a certain amount to be happy.
I think we have seen that people that get lots of money aren't any happier.
I don't know. I highly doubt. I'm going to pursue the path of money.
All right. Let us know how it goes.
Okay.
We'll start the show.
I have a pet-shaped hole. I have a pet-shaped hole in my heart.
Huh.
I got a lot of animals here. Super soul. Just collecting animals to try to fulfill a pet-shaped hole.
How many animals do you have at the Super Soul?
One more. I don't know. They come and go.
Hey, by the way, are you sure you're on the best hookup for your internet? Because you're a little choppy.
I'm a little chippy.
Yeah.
A little choppy. I am. This is all I got here. I'm
all
sorry.
Right. Then we'll work with it.
I apologize. Anyway, this material world is dreamlike. So we're saying, don't live in the past. Live in the present. It's hard to do. I got to live in the present. I have to and that's the quality of my day-to-day, isn't it? The quality of my day. That if I live and I die today, I'd be like, today is a good day to die. That should be the mood. Today, I felt like I've given my heart. I connected with, I let go of any resentment. I treated people with a deep type of kindness. I've taken care of this body, not for my ego, but for the sake that body's here to give. It's like a personal integrity that I have. I'm careful what I eat, but I'm not arrogant about what I eat. Arrogance can slip into all this type of self-care. But it's this concept of it's okay to die today. Or else what happened, put off our dream life for some time in the future. Well, I'm going to get to this point and then I'm going to start my life. At this point, I'm going to get this type of education, or I'm going to go here first. I'm going to get to this place financially. I'm going to get with this right person and then my life will start. Wrong. You could die tomorrow. So what am I doing today? Like, what am I today? And you know what? Life is short, and it's a lot shorter than all of us think. What am I doing with my life? What is my contribution? Where do I want? Why won't I make a commitment to something? It's powerful. When you make a declaration and a commitment, magic happens. Because that commitment means I'm shutting certain doors, and that lets bigger doors open. Because when there's no commitment, all the doors are open. It's so much disturbance, so much distraction. It'll distract your resources. It'll distract your time. It'll distract your energy. I think just to even do this show, we have to shut certain doors. Does that make sense?
Like the snooze? Got to shut the snooze door.
You got to shut the snooze door. Everyone got that snooze, that Maya Davy, expansion of Maya Davy, snooze Davy.
Got to get up early.
You wake up. Boom, snooze. First choice of the day. Procrastination. Bad choice. All right. You want to dive into this, Prabhu?
I'm eager to dive in today because it's such a great subject.
Okay. Let's see. So let's start with our prayers to the Bhagavatam. That's how we always start this. By the way, if you're listening to the show and you're new to it, welcome. We are here with our Zoom group here. We got about 83 people today on our Zoom group. And so if you want to join our Zoom group, you got to email us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com and say, I want to join the Zoom group. What else we have? If you got any questions, you can write them in there. Also, if you're on Zoom, you can write your questions right up here on the board as well. Okay. Let's start with this prayer. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of our conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become almost completely eradicated in loving devotional service to the Transcendental Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, I said that wrong, will be established in the heart as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, diving into the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is especially good for those who really feel like they want some like, what is the weightiness or the substance of this yoga culture? How can I make it applicable to my and relevant to my life today? How can I be a better yoga teacher by understanding this stuff? And how do I get some good direction? I think everybody's looking for some good direction in life. I know I am. It's one of my favorite reading topics is self-help. But I want my self-help to be connected to spirit, not just like how to win friends and influence people. I want the why behind all this stuff. You know what I mean, Kaustubha?
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah. Are you asking me what's the point? Or are you saying what's the point?
I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. Right. What's the
rhetorically? What's the point?
Where are we going with this? What's the home run here?
Yeah.
That's what we like to say. What's the home run here?
And it's going to be pointed out again and again in the Bhagavatam. Now, what we're going to read today, picking up from where we left off yesterday, is that you have Narada speaking to Vyasa and telling his little story. I mean, his special story, but telling his story about how he came to Bhakti Yoga. And it's kind of like within a very few short verses. For him, it was a very quick process and a very effective process. But it talks about how he was situated to receive a certain type of grace, and then the transformation that took place when he received it. Right.
By the way, we are also touching upon a very, very peculiar thing. Like if you're unfamiliar with the yoga culture, very peculiar thing. That's where we last left off. It'll be fun to jump in right here.
Oh, yeah.
Because how did he make rapid advancement?
Eating.
What? This is funny. I mean, if you're unfamiliar with this, it sounds almost bizarre. And we said there was 3 very powerful ways to have some spiritual advancement. Listen to this. One is eating the remnants of the great souls. So you'll see like in Indian culture, people don't like you eating off. It's not like in America, I say, hey, Kaustubha, give me a French fry. And I just reach over on his plate. My dad would do this. My dad would just like reach over, grab some food off my plate, put it in my mouth. In India, it's sort of like the tradition is you sort of keep your thing private. You don't want people taken from your plate because they're taking on your karma. But the idea is we want the remnants. Well, first of all, prasad or food cooked and prepared with love, that is the remnants of Bhagavan. It's the remnants of God. So it's almost like we're eating God's leftovers. But then if it's offered to the guru, if the prasad is offered to the guru, that's called the maha prasad. And to get that is even more special. They say it affects, what do you think?
Well, we're talking about something a little supernatural.
It's a little supernatural.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd share it because they mentioned it. They mentioned it. I don't even know if we should mention the other two, or if these people are even ready for it. They may not even be ready for it. Let's see if we get some requests on the board. What are the other secret two? And if you know them, you can put them on the board, and then we'll have to answer it. Vivian says, I'm ready for it. Come on, bring it.
Bring it on.
All right, the next is the dust of the feet of the great souls. The dust of the great feet. And that's why there's always the idea of want to touch the feet of the great souls. The dust of the feet of the great souls. And there's so many stories about even Krishna, he wants the dust of the feet. That's why they said that Krishna is like this is like this inner meaning why Krishna ate dirt. If you know the story that Krishna, like a little boy, if you have a little child, you know this, especially like a little 2-year-old or a toddler, they take dirt and they put it in their mouth, and the mother says, what are you doing? No, nothing. Just like shaking their head, nothing. And the mother says, open your mouth, spit it out. Like my kids used to put peas in their nose and just like naughty things that little kids do. And they almost do it to defy their parents. Krishna did the same thing. He put dirt in the mouth. And when he said, Mother Yasoda said, open your mouth. And finally she made him open. But when he opened his mouth, Krishna, Yashoda, Maya saw the entire universe. She saw the entire universe, all the demigods, all the great sages. She even saw herself looking in Krishna's mouth.
Infinite regress.
What's that?
Infinite regress, they call it, right?
Infinite regress.
She looked into his mouth and saw herself looking into his mouth, seeing herself looking into his mouth.
It's like the infinity mirror forever.
Yes,
right.
Right.
But the acharyas or the masters comment on that, and they say that Krishna put the dirt in his mouth because he wanted the dust of all the residents of Vrindavan. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
Because they're the greatest of all souls.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
There's this, anyway, you know, we can go in so many directions with this, right? Because like one thing is what happened in Mother Yashoda's.
It's getting too esoteric for this group.
We're going esoteric. We're going esoteric. It goes so many ways. But one of the beautiful esoteric points is how Mother Yashoda, she couldn't calculate what was happening because that's her little boy. How's the universe in her mouth? If she saw him as God, well, then maybe, okay, you could see the universe in his mouth, but this is my little boy. And that love, that motherly love that he so much enjoys from her, it cannot support that vision of him as being the supreme. So although she was a little confused for a second, that it was just like she kind of forgot it instantly. He was her little boy again.
Well, it was, you know, it's, can I tell that story about Tamal Krishna Maharaj and the sweet ball?
I don't even know if I know it.
Oh, well, this is a good story in that regard.
Yeah.
Kaustubha's guru was sitting with Swami Prabhupada.
I think I know
devotees.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada had taken a bite of this sweet ball, which is considered like the guru, the master, has taken a bite of the sweet ball, and he placed it on Kaustubha's guru's plate. Like, I'm giving you a gift right from my plate. And everybody was like sort of amazed. And one devotee sneaked up behind and took that sweet ball excuse me, and put it right in his mouth in front of everyone. And Kaustubha's guru was like very fiery. And he said to Swami Prabhupada, he said, did you see what he did? Prabhupada, did you see what he did? And Prabhupada's response was, yes, he's very smart. Meaning to be greedy for that maha prasad is like the most intelligent type of greed you could have.
I've heard it said that stealing prasad is 100% authorized.
Well, I think this is a good point to point out this concept of everything of the material world has its spiritual connection. And we're almost seeing like it in reverse here. You want to share about that, please?
You mean like thievery? You know,
thievery? Greed.
Yeah. All those things that you know, it's in different Eastern philosophies, this world is spoken of as an illusion. And you get different explanations of how that is. The Bhagavad Gita describes, kind of alludes to the idea that this world is like a reflection. And a reflection is a very interesting type of illusion. You know, the mirror exists, but what we identify in the mirror, if we think that it is the actual subject and not the substance and not the reflection, then we're an illusion. right? If I see my reflection in the mirror and I think that's me, I'm an illusion. Now the mirror exists and the image on the plane of glass exists. But if I think that's me, I'm an illusion. But what we do know is that I must exist in order to be reflected. So the
illusion is not nothing. It's something.
It's something. And so if this world is like a reflection, and the Bhagavad Gita says it's like a reflected banyan tree, you know, that then the reflection is either upside down or backwards. You know, when you look at it,
the 13th, right? 13th chapter of the Gita, for anyone who wants to refer that.
15th chapter.
15th chapter. Thank you.
15th chapter. The very beginning of the 15th chapter. And so there's an interesting thing about like reflections is that they appear exactly like what they're reflecting, except they're exactly backwards. Right? It's like everything's what's
such a
left is
perfect
right.
It's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So for example, we have this greed in the material world. And what does greed get you? It gets you miserable. There's no amount of greed or things or stuff that will fill my heart. Yet I'm going to pursue it more. And I've collected this much and the stocks went up this much. And then I'm riddled with anxiety that my stocks are going to go down. My real estate's going to go down, or the currency is going to go down. It's a never end anxiety that you put yourself. So greed creates a type of bondage. But that same reflection in the spiritual world is intensified. And it
relieves your
is
anxiety.
greed.
Yeah.
It's almost like a transcendental anxiety. And I think when we go to Vrindavan, like Kaustubha, we almost get a type of like spiritual anxiety. Like, I want to go here, and then I want to go here, and then I'm eager to go here, and I want to wake up early and go here, and then I want to do this, I want to go to that. I didn't go to that temple yet. I didn't get to, and it almost sounds like, isn't that just sort of the same thing? Like someone said once, well, you know, you're chanting. Isn't that just like another addiction? And I was like, well, maybe you're not familiar with addiction because the chanting addiction not leave you homeless. They don't come and take away your children, and you don't get fired from your job. So yes, it is an addiction. It's opposite of the material addiction, which dismantles one's life. Whereas the chanting addiction or the attachment to spirit addiction, it is a type of addiction, but you could argue it's the exact same thing. What happens is you're becoming more free, you're becoming more connected, you're becoming more joyful. It's the same exact thing in the mirror.
Yeah. So in certain, certain yogic circles, they try to eradicate, for instance, attachment or greed or all these things. The Bhakti philosophy, the Bhagavatam philosophy, is going to Vyasadeva is going to say, let me clarify it for you just in case you didn't understand. I wasn't saying that you eradicate all these things. What I'm saying is that you transform them or you restore them to their original place. So the lust that you feel in this world, it's not that you just eradicate your lust, but you transform that into love. You know, the greed that you feel, it gets transformed into the spiritual form of eagerness, right? Et cetera, et cetera. They all have their pure spiritual form, and they just need to be restored to that.
Yeah.
So steal prasad.
The forms of this world are beauty. There's beautiful forms in this world because it's the form melts as time because the form of this world is affected by the time factor. Therefore, it melts. It's not solid. It's not what it appears to be in this world.
We have to have faith in that.
And that's why the world that we live in is like we were saying about photographs. It's dreamlike. My children are small, and then all of a sudden, adults in a moment. There any parent who's got a teenager or a 20-year-old, just they were children a moment ago, and now it's a dream. So what we're doing is not trying to let's just abandon the dream, but we can't accept the dream as a reality. I can't expect to always possess those little kids. I have to understand that everything is sort of like sand running through my hand. And while I have these things with me, I just have to be detached in a healthy way.
Hmm.
Overly attached, it's not love. Right? All I can do, because I don't own anything in this world. There's an old lyric of a song, you are not what you own. You are not what you own. And out of a pathetic type of trying to find meanness, I start to think, well, this is me. This is the body's me. My stuff is me. My vehicle is me. My home is me. My family's me. Understand ourselves as something permanent in this world to find identity. The sages of India are saying you can identify with it, but don't bank on that as your final investment, because it is like sand in an hourglass, or sand running through your hands, or a sand castle is a good example too. Sand castle is quite beautiful. If you go to the beach, sand castle contest, and they make like sort of like works of art, like incredible sculptures, massive castles, Lincoln's head. I just said. Then all of it just starts to melt away. That's the material world. It melts. So we're saying, look inside. Huh?
You're real choppy, Raghu.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's real choppy, unfortunately. I mean, I heard most of it. Heard most of it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Anyway,
Let's read a little.
You sound like you're quoting from the old Edgar Allan Poe. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. I think maybe there's a little time delay or something like that. But you sounded, what you were saying reminded me of Edgar Allan Poe.
Read the poem.
I'll read one verse from it. A dream within a dream. You ready?
Yeah, please.
I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand.
Lindsay Scott, put this on the board, please. Lindsay Scott, subscribe.
Dream within a dream. Now, but it goes on. So those grains of sand, are the days or the years of our lives or whatever. Right? How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp?
Ooh.
O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? It's a great poem, right?
That's a great poem.
Yeah.
I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep. Oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? This is great. I've never heard this before. It's practically exactly what I was just saying.
That's what I'm telling you.
Edgar Allan Poe think alike.
Well, the first verse is beautiful too. You want to hear that?
Please. I thought that was it.
No, that's the second verse. Here's the first verse. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, this much let me avow. You're not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream, right?
Wow.
This is, it's whether it's the Matrix or it's the dream within a dream or virtual reality, if we really want to understand truth, according to the yogic literature, we got to be able to expand the mind to understand that what we are living in right now is not exactly what we think it is.
And the dream's over in a moment.
It's constantly moving. That passage of time is an element within the dream or within the virtual reality, within the matrix, that does not exist in reality, but only exists within the realm in which we're playing in right now. It's something very foreign to us. And this concept of time becomes like really something to contemplate,
And, it's just also good to sort of input here. If you're not doing what you feel like you are born to do,
there you go.
Now's the time to wake up and do it. Because at any moment, a wave can come in and take one whole section of that sandcastle and drag it away.
It will.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But the idea is at any moment, And if I'm putting off living what I'm supposed to live, I've seen people, they get a stroke and then it's never, their whole life is different. And there's so little appreciation. I have a healthy, functioning body right now. I have people in my life right now.
I have an opportunity to serve right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Man.
All right.
Now I'm depressed. Good morning.
What do you mean depressed?
Completely depressed. This is good. This is good. You got to talk about
But there's an
this
optimism
stuff.
behind the pessimism with bhakti.
It is. If you just to look at the material world, the whole damn thing's unfortunate. It's one unfortunate situation where you fall in love with things that are getting ripped out of your hands.
Right.
And
you cannot hold them with a tighter grasp, no matter how you try.
But if you understand, we're here just to love, to give some love, to assist each other on a path, and to do this self-work. We're here just doing time, trying to do this self-work so we could, otherwise we're just prolonging a sentence, so to speak, making the same feel like you're making the same foolish mistakes again, the same tricks of Maya.
It's the Groundhog Day thing.
It's Groundhog Day.
All right.
Let's read. Well, we never talked about the third thing, and I got a feeling if we do, we're going to have to hold that off for tomorrow. Sorry, Lori.
We will reveal that tomorrow.
We said two things, though. We said
food remnants and the foot dust.
Foot dust and food remnants. Those things, those are reasonable. The third one's going to blow your mind, so I'm not going to even go there. Okay.
Cliffhanger.
So this is where we last left off yesterday. Once only, by their permission, I took the remnants of their food. Remember, Narada is having a past life regression here. He's telling, I was a little boy, and I was the son of a simple maid. And there were these like hermits, these transcendental hermits who sort of like
wanderers,
hunkered themselves down for the 4 months of the rainy season. And me and my mother just took care of them and served them. And they liked me. They liked my gestures and my demeanor. Thus, being engaged, I became purified. At that time. The very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me. Right? You see, this is the biggest way to inspire someone. It's not to preach to them about something. You have direct change. Your life has been changed, and people see that, my God, this person is different, and that inspires them. It's the most inspirational way to create change in the world. It's not just to nag people, yell at people, shame people. You should stop eating meat because you're blah. You know what I mean? It should be to inspire because you are inspired. You inspire with love. You don't inspire people with shame. You can make them do it. You can shame a person to doing whatever you want. You can manipulate them like that. It's just a low base way of persuasion. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
When you bring that up, one example that always comes to my mind is my wife, Gita Priya. For those, many of you know her, some of you don't. But
we love her.
I'm sorry?
We love her.
We love her. And she was a Montessori teacher, taught in a, kind of high level school in Manhattan, Montessori school. And, you think that the Montessori school is just going to be a little nest of happiness and
oh yes, it is. Everyone's practically liberated.
But the fact is, although it was a nice school. So, but the fact is, the teachers are always complaining about the parents and the staff. The staff is always complaining about the teachers and the parents. The parents are always complaining about the teachers and the staff. Right. And the teachers are complaining about the teachers and the staff are complaining about the staff. And everybody's gossiping behind each other's back. And it just creates a somewhat toxic atmosphere, even in such a nice endeavor. Right?
Sure.
Now,
this is one of the better schools.
Yeah. And now people didn't really know about her bhakti faith or anything about it. They knew she wore these beads on her neck, and they knew she had her special vegetarian diet. They knew she was into something special, but they didn't really know anything about it. But she never preached it to anyone. She never, what to speak of, pushed it on anyone. But just by her behavior, just by her not indulging, we were talking about this yesterday, kind of indulging in criticism or indulging in gossip, indulging in talks that have no value. Particularly when there's when there's some criticism of another, she wouldn't engage in that. She would avoid that. She would, and people began to pick up on that, and they began to sense that she's very spiritual. This woman, she's
the interesting thing, and your wife is very much like this, is when people know you will engage in it, they will come back to you, because there's a type of, almost like a type of sick, tamasic pleasure you get from gossip.
Right. And so, that, which reminds me of that incredible instruction from this great soul who passed away some time ago, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, a friend of yours and mine, who said, if someone comes up to me and they want to engage me in some lower form of discussion, in some kind of gossip or something like that. Now, I start that sentence, right? And you think it's going to be like, well, I'm not going to have anything to do, or they are this or that. But his response was, if someone comes up to me to discuss that, then I have to consider what is wrong with me that they would think for a moment that I would be interested in engaging in such a discussion.
Am I putting that out there to the world? Like, come up.
Yeah. Like my character, it should be so clear through my behavior, my character, that I'm the last person you want to come to with that kind of thing.
That's nice. He didn't even blame them. He took responsibility.
That's how radical our yoga practice has to get for it to really get some traction. We got to start thinking like that. Right? It's
a transformation of sound. If we transform the sounds, we transform our entire life. The whole foundation of bhakti is all on sound. It's hearing, it's speaking, it's changing the mantras of our consciousness, adding new mantras to our life, changing the way we deal with people, relate to people, speak to people, not allowing certain sounds in, promoting other sounds. It's a whole sound, going to kirtan, it's a whole sound-based transformational system.
Transform the sound, transform your life.
There you go.
I love it.
That's a mug. That's a mug.
Okay.
All right. So going on. Oh, great sage. As soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to said it.
Hold it. You skipped one. Go to text 26.
Are you sure? Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, Vyasadeva. In that association, and by the mercy of the great Vedantists, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna. And thus, listening attentively, my taste or hearing of the personality of Godhead increased at every step.
He transformed the sound, and it transformed his life.
Sure. I think this is what happens when you hear from great souls. It's sort of transformed. I've witnessed it. I've witnessed even friends, they hear from a great soul and it sort of like changes them. Like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to behave. That's how I'm supposed to speak. That's how I feel like whenever I hang out with Raghunath Swami, a bad way to phrase it. Like he's very, very select in the words that come out of his mouth. Have some type of blah, 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 blah. I'm just, there's like the cup spills and just things come out of my mouth. Stupid things, funny things, ridiculous things, occasionally an intelligent thing, a lot of nonsense things. But I find when I'm with Raghunath Swami, he's so careful about what he lets in, what I'm saying, and also he sort of guides the conversation. And it's almost like some type of like psychic surgery to my tongue of like what should and should not go into my ears, what should and should not go in my ears, and what should and should not come out of my mouth. And it's by raising the bar of the people we hang out with that don't want to hear about a bunch of nonsense, don't want to hear about a bunch of gossip. They steer the conversation away. They don't engage in that. And when you get people like that who are just speaking on a very high vibe, it's a real paradigm shifter. It's a real paradigm shifter, especially if we're coming from a dark place, a low place. We need people like that in our life that won't let the conversation go low.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So this is what happened. Narada is like hanging out with these Vedantists, and they're inspiring him.
What verse was that? 20.
That was 26.
You know, you want to read a little from the commentary here? I see some nice stuff.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear me fine. Yeah, it's a little better now.
Okay. Lord Sri Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is attractive not only in his personal features, but also in his transcendental activities. It is so because the absolute is absolute by his name, fame, form, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, etc. The Lord descends in the material world out of causeless mercy and displays various transcendental pastimes as a human being, so that human beings get attracted towards him and become able to go back to Godhead.
Okay, now this gets interesting.
Okay. People are naturally apt to hear stories and narrations of various personalities performing mundane activities without knowing that by such association, one simply wastes valuable time and also becomes addicted to the three gunas, the three qualities of mundane nature. Instead of wasting time, one can get spiritual success by turning his attention to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So the point is making that the mind is naturally attracted to stories, to personalities, to biographies, and we get attracted to these people.
Hearing the messages.
Yeah. Let me keep going. By hearing the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, one contacts directly the personality of Godhead. And as explained before, by hearing about the personality of Godhead from within, all accumulated sins or karma of the mundane creature are cleared. Thus being cleared, the hearer gradually becomes liberated from mundane association and becomes attracted to the features of the Lord. Okay. I'm going to just jump in here, play devil's advocate, because it sounds really sort of lofty here.
Yeah.
It's just stories. How could a story purify me?
Well, that's what the beginning of the
Like,
commentary.
why don't I just read the tales or the Iliad and the Odyssey? Why are these stories purifying? Why not read the George Washington's the biography of George Washington, the biography of
George Washington,
John Adams, other great presidents of American history. Why don't we just read those biographies? They're
because I'm going to answer your question. Because if we go to the beginning of the commentary again, he says, Lord Sri Krishna, not George Washington, not John Adams.
John Adams lived a pretty good life.
Lord Sri Krishna, the absolute personality of God, is attractive not only in his personal features, but also in his transcendental activities. It is so because the absolute is absolute by his name, fame, form, pastimes, and entourage, paraphernalia, etc. So in other words, Krishna's pastimes are not different from him, and he's pure spiritual energy. His pastimes, this is something that requires faith. His name, his form, his qualities, and his pastimes, they are pure spiritual energy. They are not manifestations of the material realm. So when they enter in through our ears, they carry transformative, potent spiritual energy into our consciousness, and they transform it. Just like you drop one ingredient into another and it transforms it. You know, you drop,
Good one. Lemon into milk.
Yeah, okay. Or even I was just thinking like something that's colored, right? Like you pour some chocolate syrup into your milk and it changes, right? So you add transcendental energy into your material mind, and it spiritualizes your mind. Hearing about George Washington is just going to transform it on a material level. But hearing about Krishna transforms it on a spiritual level because he is the origin of all spiritual energy.
And to the degree that even these personalities of our history do spiritual things, it sort of brings our consciousness higher. That's true. That's true.
Like never telling a lie, cutting down the cherry tree.
Satya.
A little satyam there.
A little.
Tell the truth.
George Washington teaches the yamas and the yamas.
But so now if we look at what's happened here, Narada's life got changed by transcendental sound. But look how it lays it out here. It began by saying that he was a good boy, right? Like
He was a good little boy.
he was a good boy, meaning he behaved in the right way. His heart was good and open for transformation. He dealt with these great souls in a very respectful way, in a way that
You want to just take care of him. You just want to love him. You just want to reach out to him.
he endeared himself to them.
Yeah.
Okay. And he served them. And he took some of their remnants. And he said that what awoke in him first was the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to him. Something within him changed, and that became attractive. That's what I want in life, right? And then when he heard them speak, something else arose in him. My taste for hearing of the personality of God had increased at every step. Right?
Yeah.
That was the verse that we just read. Now we hear about the further transformation in this verse, text 27.
All transformation by hearing, which is what we're doing right now.
That's right.
That's why we're waking up early to hear the stuff. Oh, great sages. Oh, great sage. As soon as I got the taste for the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. It means it didn't want to, there was no wasted time.
Yeah.
And as my taste developed, I could realize only ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental.
Okay.
I think what happens also, and clarify me, because a lot of you guys out there have been to India with me or Kaustubha, or on pilgrimage or in the training, where we sort of set the bar very high. There's not real a lot of downtime. We're always constantly hearing and chanting and doing going to a holy place, bathing in a holy river, going to some temple. It gets high and you don't even realize it, but you have no sort of almost downtime in the day. Even if you want to gossip, there's not a lot of people because people don't want to gossip with you. And so what happens is you start to sort of float, and you're not even realizing you float until you get spit back into your life when your plane lands in your respective airport. And then you're left with like, now how do I deal with this? I'd had this high. And you sort of get caught in this like, where's God? Where did God go? What do I do now on a regular basis? Who do I talk to? How do I react? Who do I bow down to? What river do I bathe in? And we sort of get like, we get lost. And so I feel like this is Narada. He got this taste. And as soon as he got the taste, my attention to hear the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only my ignorance that I accepted gross and subtle coverings. So I had been giving myself false labels of what I was.
He broke through.
For decades.
He broke. Yeah, he broke. Now I want to share a quick little analogy that I feel is appropriate at this point. Please. That sometimes Prabhupada would say, he would talk about like lighting a fire, like grass, like, or we might say sticks, right? Say you want to light a fire and you have some sticks, but if those sticks are moist, doesn't matter how many times you strike the flame to, spark or whatever, it's not going to light up.
Not going to light.
But if it becomes very dry, very dry, then even one little spark can set the whole thing off. And so similarly, we're like that. We have to, in a sense, dry out from our material absorption, from all of the stuff that we watch and all the stuff that we listen to. It's keeping us, that spark won't ignite. That spiritual spark won't ignite in us.
And then that greed comes.
And then the greed.
Spiritual greed.
Yeah. So, well, that's what.
I like this analogy.
That's what Narada's talking about when he says that my taste increased. He got greedy to hear more. But we see he was a good boy. So he was like that dried grass or the dried sticks. He could be ignited easily, And when he got ignited, then the first thing that happened is, I want to be like those guys. I want to be transcendentalist. And then when he heard more from them, then the taste to hear about Radha and Krishna grew, and the other tastes, they just dropped away. And then he realized all this theory that we're talking about, that I'm not the body, and that, it wasn't just theoretical knowledge. It became realized knowledge in him, and he became free, and so that's, we're watching in a very short period of time, this great little soul, Narada in his previous birth, go through a transformation that's described in our literature. Like there's a progression of spiritual advancements that is described, beginning with faith. Stage 2 is associating with great souls. We see that's what he's doing here. Step 3 is that you begin the practice with under the right kind of instruction, with the right kind of determination. And then you come to the next stage wherein it's called anartha nivrtti, where the unwanted things in your heart begin to decrease. All our false designations and false attractions and distractions and all of that. And then you come to a stage called nistha, where you're steady in your yoga, in your bhakti-yogi practice. And then comes the next stage, ruci.
Where am I on this, Kaustubha?
You are divine madness.
Never try to equate yourself like, okay, where do you think I am? Where do you think I am right now?
We spend a lot of time. Yeah, we spend a lot of time struggling in that anartha nivrtti stage, that clearing of the heart, But we got to find a way to increase it. So it's sadhu-sanga. I'm sorry. The first one is sraddha, faith.
Sraddha, some faith. Let's put these on the board.
Okay.
Lindsay Scott, scribe.
Sraddha, faith.
Sraddha, faith.
Number 2 is sadhu-sanga, association with great souls, with sadhus.
Sangam. Like in India, when two rivers come together, they call it a sangam.
Yeah.
The coming together.
So coming together with the sadhus, sadhu-sanga. And then the third one is called bhajana-kriya. So bhajana means one's worship, and kriya means like one becomes purified. And this generally refers to receiving instruction like from a guru, from a great soul, and then committing oneself to the practice. Seriously. Okay, I'm going to practice this for real now.
What'd you say? Oh, yeah, I'm going to practice. Okay.
Right. Sadhu-sanga, you might just be associating, but now it's like, now I'm going to follow. Okay. And then the next stage is called anartha nivrtti. Artha means something valuable. Anartha means something that's not valuable. Anartha nivrtti means the ridding of these unvaluable things. Material attachments, misconceptions, false senses of ego or false senses of identity. One becomes free of these things. And then you come to this very powerful stage, a stage that we should all be eager to try to reach. We should be determined to reach, called nistha, which means fixed, right?
Nistha.
Now I'm steadily fixed in my practice and I'm not being distracted by other things. And then that's followed by ruci. Then one develops a real taste for spiritual life, for hearing the pastimes of Krishna, for chanting the holy name. We're not just chanting our rounds because I have to. We're chanting our rounds because we want to, because we got a taste for it,
Ruci. Good name.
And then comes
anybody having a baby?
Ruci. Yeah, that's a good name.
Name your kid Ruci.
Ruci. Then comes asakti, which means that taste turns into like, hey, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It becomes like an addiction, right? That taste becomes so strong. People begin to think you're a little weird because you're kind of addicted to this stuff on a strong level. And then comes bhava, and bhava means the sprout of divine love is begun to peak up from the soil, and ultimately it fully manifests in prema, pure love of God. And so those are the different stages, and we see Narada kind of quickly progressing through them. You got the sadhu-sanga, became purified, taste awokened in him, and he became free of all its illusion.
What the hell's going on with me? I'm trying to get the sound going on. Where's Mara?
No problem, Lindsay. We'll maybe we can put them up in the thread. In the whatchamacallit thread. Telegram.
Guess what? We're gonna have to let's rewrite this and repost this. We'll put it in the Telegram thread.
Put it on the thread.
It's our time for today. Thanks for everybody waking up, except for you Europeans who are sleeping in. But thanks everybody. We're grateful for all of us. We had a big group today. We had like 85. By the way, Kaustubha said we've been getting about, between YouTube and the downloads, we've been getting like 900 people a day listening to the Bhagavatam class. It's exciting. So thanks to have everybody here on Zoom. If you want to join our Zoom group or have any questions for us, please reach out to us on wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And tomorrow, Zoom people, thanks for everybody joining late. Let's all clap. My big speaker's not working, so I don't know. I need Mara back here. Let's see who joined. Yvette, Meg Sweeney, Mohanji, Anuradha, Ananta Devi Dasi, Sarah Oakley, Amanda from Revolution Yoga in Long Island. Thanks, everybody. We need a good name for this class.
I think it's transform the sound, transform your life.
Transform the sound, transform your life. That's really the truth. Jai Sri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe Look at Bhakti Louis is in bliss. And Indigo is in bliss.
Where's Indigo? Oh, there she is.
Krishna Bolo Jai. Everybody. Great way to start the day. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.